सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्। ॐ श्री चिन्मय सद्गुरवे नमः। 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 Last session we had seen Ambatvam Anusandadhami. Mother Bhagavad Gita is our mother of a sadhaka, one who is walking on this spiritual path. And his commitment is, I will do my best to internalize. Anusandadhami means that. That is the word we have to pay attention to. You will see in many places Gurudev's quote, mere hearing is not sufficient. What he means there is Anusandadhami. I have to listen and try to make certain changes. If Bhagavad Gita gives birth to a sadhaka, who is a sadhaka? One who is simple in his perception and response to the world is a sadhaka. जो सरल है वो साधक है. But the irony is, simplicity is difficult. Saralta is very katin. But in spite of it being like this, one who gets it for himself, sadha means to accomplish, to go and get. From that comes the word sadhaka. One who goes and gets these qualities for himself, that person is a sadhaka. And he has Bhagawan as his goal. Goal is going to decide his purity of quest. Because some person might be there who is very hardworking, but goal is not Bhagawan. So what distinguishes sadhaka from other person? He is hardworking, plus his goal is Bhagawan. Then we saw Sattvik Sukham, where Bhagavan starts by introducing where is Sattvik Sukham born from. He says it is born from Atma Buddhi Prasada, consciousness which is nature of bliss, getting reflected in a pure, calm mind. Atma Buddhi Prasadajam. How does one come to revel in it? Through abhyasa, through practice. So one has to keep introspecting, what Sattvik Sukham am I practicing every day? Third was, what is its nature? It is painful in the beginning, but nectar in the end. That is the nature of Sattvik Sukham. It will help us identify Sattvik Sukham precisely. And the last one was, result of Sattvik Sukham is, it puts an end to all sorrow. Transactional sorrow with a good spiritual routine. And eventually, this sadhaka who has taste for Sattvik joy comes to revel in the self. So the journey is always from tamas to rajas to sattva and beyond. Not stay in sattva. Because Bhagavan said, Nistre gunyo bhavarjuna. Your goal is that consciousness which is beyond three gunas. But rajas and tamas bind us, sattva frees us. Rajas and Tamas binds us, Sattva frees us. I'd shared this story of three robbers. Ramakrishna Paramhamsa, he shares this. One person was tied to a tree by three people. All three were robbers. One person says, let us beat him up. Second person says, let us tie him, don't beat him up. They tie him and walk away. Third person feels, why did we tie him up? He did not do us any harm. So he comes and frees him. Ramakrishna Paramhamsa says, these are three gunas. The one who said, beat him up is tamoguna. One who said, tie him up is rajoguna. And one who said, let us free him is sattvaguna. The thing is, the one who freed him is also a robber. But he is the one who will free him. So sattvaguna will become our means to go beyond the three gunas. To go from tamasic to nistraigunya. Never going to happen. It means to go from tamasic mindset directly to pure consciousness. That's a very high jump. How about Rajasic to consciousness? It is still high, not easy. When we see Rajasic, we will appreciate this point. Sattvik is very close. It's a very short distance to travel. That is why this becomes important. The result of Sattvik Sukham is it puts an end to sorrow. Now somebody might say, we saw only traditional examples. What are the examples we saw? Japa, dhyanam, chanting. Other than these things, there is no Sattvik Sukham at all. Think about this. Let us say you take yogasana. Where will you put it? Sattvik, Rajasic, Tamasic. Definitely not Tamasic. To go there, you have to get over tamas and go to your yoga class. Rajasic involves a lot of sense objects. We will see that later. You cannot even put yogasana under Rajasic. Means it will not fully fit the category there. It is one notch below Sattvik. Somewhere in between. How will you determine whether this is Sattvik Sukham or not? Apply those four criteria. Where is it born from, that joy? Reflection of consciousness. Means through yogasana, if mind becomes quiet, that joy which we get in that quiet mind is Sattvik Sukham. But here, sense object is not involved. Some yoga posture is involved. Second one, how does one come to revel in it? Oh, a lot of practice is needed. What is its nature? Remember the first yoga class that you went. In the beginning, it's poison. Very painful. But dukkhantam cha nigacchati. At least body-related sorrow, it will remove. To that extent, it is Sattvik Sukham. We should not make these definitions very, very traditional. Then we won't be able to relate with it at all. It is true. Japa, dhyanam, chanting is Sattvik Sukham. That is the perfect definition. But is there something in between also? All the Sukhams are there. Gardening, cooking. They are all Sattvik Sukham, much better than Rajasic Sukham. Now, what is Rajasic Sukham? Bhagavan says, 38th verse. Vishayendriya sanyogat yattadagre mrutopamam pariname vishamiva tatsukham rajasam smrutam. Vishayendriya sanyogat yattadagre mrutopamam pariname vishamiva Tat Sukham Rajasam Smrutam. Here again, these 4 points, what we saw, Bhagavan gives indicators. Where is this Sukham born from? Where is Rajasic Sukham born from? Vishaya Indriya Sanyogat. Contact of sense object with sense organ. That is the birthplace of Rajasic Sukham. Thing to note here is both are anatma. Sense organ is anatma. Anatma means not self. Sense object is also anatma. Sometimes you wonder, two anatmas coming together also produces joy. He says that is why it is Rajasic Sukham. What was the cause of Sattvik Sukham? Where was it born from? Atma reflected in pure mind. And note Rajasic Sukham difference. Sense object interacting with sense organ interacting with sense objects. How does one come to revel in it? No practice needed. Sattvik Sukham abhyasat ramate. Here, no abhyasa. Why is it? Because our Rajasic vasanas are already kindled. When kids are growing up, sugar is given much later. Because that sugar vasana is very well there. And once it gets kindled, very easy to light up further. That is this Rajasic Sukham, no need of practice. Samskara is already there. The moment sense object comes, it gets lighted up. In Sanskrit, the word is uddipta. Uddipta means that samskara which was dormant, that gets lit up. And without us knowing, we start reveling, enjoying in that sense object. That is how one comes to revel in it. In Puranas, this is presented in a dramatic form. All of you have heard the story of Dhruva. What was Dhruva's father's name? Uttanapada. He had two wives. One's name was Suruchi, another name was Suniti. And Dhruva was son of Suniti. Pada means legs. Uttanapada means one who is trying to stand on his legs. Sadhaka. He has two options. One is to do what his mind wants. Ruchi means taste. Suruchi. That which mind tells to do. And second one is Suniti. Intellect telling him what is right to do. And if somebody goes per the advice of Suniti, they attain Dhruvapada. What is Dhruvapada? Sattvik Sukham. That which is more eternal, more lasting. Names in Puranas, we have to pay closer attention. Uttanapada, Suruchi, Suniti. Child of Suniti is Dhruva. One is Rajasic Sukham, another is Sattvik Sukham. How does one come to revel in it? Whenever samskaras get triggered, that is when effortlessly one revels. No effort needed, no practice needed. What is the nature of Rajasic Sukham? Yattad agre amrutopamam. In the beginning, it looks very nice and sweet. Pariname vishamiva. A result of that is like poison. In the beginning, because those vasanas were there, it just made us go along with it. More examples you have to think in your study group. Huh? I'll just give few of them. Rajasic, Tamasic are very easy. Binge watching. How much effort do we need to put? No effort. Binge eating also you can include because samskara is there. It will just keep going on and on and on. In the beginning, it looks very nice. Agre amrutam, pariname visham. It will make us fall back on certain things. Shankaracharyaji helps us clarify why is it like poison in the end. Rajasic Sukham. What is its nature? In the beginning, it is nectar. Result of Rajasic Sukham is it is poison in the end. Third question you can say, what is the result of Rajasic Sukham? It becomes Visham. He says, person who goes after Rajasic Sukham, that person loses 7 things in life. Sometimes you wonder, how they were able to categorize these things. But it is up to us to reflect and see whether Shankaracharya, what he is saying is true or not. First thing he says, what a person loses is balam, inner strength and stamina. Sense objects leave him weak. Second is virya. Virya means vigor. He'll feel more sluggish. Balam and virya. Third is rupa. Rupa means beauty. Beauty. Fourth one is prajna. Prajna means ability to understand, grasp things. We'll notice this whenever mind has become indulgent and suddenly you hear something or you want to read something, understand something, very difficult. This is prajna is lost. Fifth one is medha. Memory power goes down. Eventually, he says, wealth also goes down. Dhanam. And the last one is utsaha. Enthusiasm goes down. Now, on all these 7, we can do our own mananam. Bala, virya, rupa, prajna, medha, dhana, utsaha. 7 factors which a person loses because of Rajasic Sukham. In another place, Bhartahariji, he puts it very simply. He says, Bhoge Roga Bhayam. Instead of giving 7 things, he says only in one sentence. Whenever the mind becomes indulgent, be careful, there is some roga coming along with it. This is the nature of Rajasic Sukham. Where is it born from? Contact of sense organ with sense objects. How does one come to revel in it? Effortlessly. No practice needed. What is its nature? Looks very appealing in the beginning. Very attractive. Result of it, it drains away all these 7 things and leaves us incomplete. This story you must have heard before. It's a very popular one. Puja Guruji shares this. To explain the point that in the beginning it looks very appealing, but in the end it becomes poisonous. One person, he left his body here, went up. He has to pick now between Swarga and Narka. Karmas are mixed. Only choice he had was sequence. Where do you want to go first? First Narka, then Swarga, or first Swarga, then Narka? Then he says, I want to see first. Then I will decide how it looks. He goes to Naraka, and it was so nice outside. People were welcoming, there was music going on, so many things to eat, tasters outside, not even inside. Anybody passing by can take something and go. Then he goes to Swarga. Bhagwan alone is sitting there. He says, Are, I thought Swarga is something very nice. Bhagwan said, Of course it is nice. I am here. He says, Bhagwan, that is okay. But I think that Naraka is very attractive. Bhagwan didn't say anything. He said, Your choice, you decide. Then Yamaraj asks him, Where you want to go? He said, First I will go to Naraka. He enters the door. They start thrashing him, beating him, putting him upside down. He says, What happened? It was so nice outside, and inside you're doing this to me. He said, That was our publicity department. Whoever is outside, it looks very nice. Moment you enter, this is what you get. He said, This is Rajasic Sukham. From outside, it looks good. Whenever God's grace descends, person starts seeing limitations. Rajasic Sukham, world is on one side, Bhagavan Krishna's word is on another side. It's a battle between 99, not even 99, 99.99, and this 0.01% of advice. This is where our devotion to the Lord, pramana buddhi in the Lord, will get tested. If somebody is really able to come out of it. Another thing is, Bhagwan says choice is ours. That is why the retreat is titled Power of Choice. He will not come and say, you should choose Sattvik, you should choose Rajasic. He will not make us choose also. He says, I have laid out everything. You pick what you want. Now, Tamasic Sukham. This one is fun. Yadagre chanubandhe cha Sukham mohanamatmanah Nidralasya pramadotham Tattamasamudahrutam Yadagre chanubandhe cha Sukham mohanamatmanah Nidralasya pramadotham Tattamasamudahrutam. Where is this Tamasic Sukham born from? Nidra, sleep. Alasya, laziness. And pramada. Pramada means inadvertence or intoxication. Both meanings are there. Born out of sleep, born out of laziness, and born out of inadvertence or intoxication. Main thing to note here is, this is also one kind of Sukham. That snooze button when we press, even if it is a 15-minute sleep, that Sukham is greater than the 6-7 hours that we slept. Otherwise, we would not even do it. If there was pain there, we never go towards Dukkham. Procrastination, is there Sukham or not? There is Sukham, otherwise we would not do it. But it is Tamasic Sukham. How does one come to revel in it? Bhagwan says this is Naisargika. Naisargika means it is inherently there in us. Again, this we don't have to put forth effort. No need to put forth effort. Rajasic and Tamasic, both of it. What is its nature? Yadagre chanubandhe cha sukham mohanam atmanah. Its nature is in the beginning and in the end. It keeps that person deluded. Meaning what? He feels he is gaining joy, but really speaking, he is not. Delusory joy is this. Take the example of procrastination or sleep. That person feels I'm getting joy by oversleeping. But really speaking, it is delusory joy. It will make him slack on some duty. Mohanam means delusory. You feel you are getting it, but really speaking, you are not getting it. That is the nature of tamasic joy. And at the same time, what is the result? It begins with delusion, ends with delusion. Consistent delusion is there. Agre means beginning, anubandhe means in the end. That joy which is delusory, that is called as Tamasic Sukham. If we appreciate where it is born from, we will appreciate what kind of Sukham this is. Main enemy is sleep. Nidra. There was one guru who was trying to wake up his student early morning. He said, "Oh Shishya, wake up. It is 4 o'clock. Do some sadhana." He just pulled over his blanket, rolled over and slept. Guru said, "Okay, don't do sadhana. At least make a cup of tea. Ashram you are staying." Karvat are two types, right? One left side, one right side. So first time he moved to the left, second time moved to the right. Then finally Guru himself went, put the water on the stove, made chai. Then he said, "At least wake up and drink a cup of tea." Very quickly he woke up, drank the cup of tea. Guru said, "I gave you so many instructions you didn't follow. This one very quickly you followed." He said, "It is not a good thing to disobey the Guru always. At least some things you have to do." He said, that is Tamasic Sukham, which keeps us deluded. How to come out of tamas? Hold on to rajas. It's a great blessing. If sense object pulls us, so be it. That's why for many people, their support to wake up early is coffee. Coffee is Rajasic, but it will at least help him come out of tamas and help him to meditate, which is to go into sattva. He says, do whatever it takes, but come out of tamas. 3 types of Sukham: Sattvik, Rajasic, Tamasic. But appreciate the way in which it is unfolded, where it is born from, how does one come to revel in it, what is its nature, what is its result. This is put all 3 next to each other, then analyze ambatvam anusandadhami. What type of Sukham is predominant in my life right now? Which one I need to let go? Which one I need to increase? Okay, Rajasic and Tamasic I need to let go. Sattvik is the one I need to increase. There should be no ambiguity. Now, as I said, I can move around these verses. So first set was Sukham. Sattvik, Rajasic, Tamasic. Now let us see buddhi. It's a very, very practical topic. Right from teenagers to adults to vanaprastha. What we are seeking is proper buddhi, proper thinking. We chant Gayatri Mantra. The result of Gayatri Mantra is Sattvik Buddhi. Shiva Sankalpa Suktam also. If somebody does chanting of it, any sadhana for that matter. Bottom line is, Bhagwan, may we be blessed with sattvic intellect. Then we don't have to worry about that person. He is very well independent on his own. What is sattvic buddhi? 30th verse. Pravrittim cha nivrittim cha karya karye bhaya bhaye bandham moksham cha ya veti buddhis sa partha sattviki pravrittim cha nivrittim cha karya karye bhaya bhaye bandham moksham cha ya veti buddhis sa partha sattviki. Yaya veti. Yaya veti means that intellect by which these things are very well discerned. What are those things? 4 pairs are pointed out. But the important word is yaya veti. What is sattvic intellect? That intellect by which these 4 pairs are very well understood. Clarity is there. Buddhi sa partha sattviki. That buddhi is called sattvika buddhi. Now look at the first pair. First pair is pravritti and nivritti. Pravritti means how to get engaged, how to involve in any action. If you want a more poetic way, art of intelligently pursuing goals. Pravritti means that. How to intelligently pursue goals in life. Nivritti is how to retire gracefully, how to withdraw, how to grow out. Very fact Bhagwan is mentioning this, what does it show? There is a chance that we don't understand this well. How to do pravritti and how to graduate into nivritti. Second pair is karya and akarya. What is my duty? Karya. What am I supposed to do? And what is akarya? What is it that I am not supposed to do? What is not my duty? Sattvik buddhi will have clarity in these pairs. Pravritti, nivritti, karya, akarya. Third pair is bandha moksha. Third pair is bhaya abhaya. What is fear? What is fearlessness? Where I should be afraid and where I should be fearless. Fourth pair is what is bondage and what is liberation. Bandha moksha. Now Sattvik buddhi will have clarity in these pairs. For Rajasic buddhi, what Bhagavan does is, he eliminates pravritti nivritti, eliminates bandha moksha. Meaning, he says Rajasic buddhi will not appreciate moksha. Rajasic buddhi will not appreciate nivritti. He doesn't even discuss it. And between karya akarya, what I have to do, what I should not do. Between bhaya and abhaya, it will get confused. In dharma adharma, karya akarya, it will get confused. That is Rajasic buddhi. This we will see when we come to Rajasic buddhi. But just appreciate how out of these 4 pairs, Sattvik is able to appreciate all 4. And in the Rajasic, two are missing. They are missing because it doesn't appreciate moksha, doesn't appreciate nivritti. Now we'll pay attention to each pair. What is the first pair? Pravritti and nivritti. Just pay attention to pravritti. Now there are some questions we have to ask ourselves because all of us are into some or the other pravritti. To remain in actionless is not a choice. Something we have to do. So there are some questions we have to ask. First question is, what is pravritti? What is pravritti? Second is, what is the purpose of pravritti? What is the purpose of pravritti? Third is, how should one do pravritti? How should one do pravritti? Last and the most important one, until when should one do pravritti? Until when should one do pravritti? In Hindi, this become very simple, short questions. Pravritti kya? What is pravritti? Pravritti kyon? Why should one do pravritti? Pravritti kaise? How should one do pravritti? Or pravritti kab tak? Until when should one do pravritti? The one who has clarity about this is Sattvik buddhi. First one, what is pravritti? Any action is not called pravritti. Based upon stage in life, based upon the role, doing our duties diligently, according to do's and don'ts, that is called pravritti. The moment somebody says, I am a brahmachari. Now you have signed up for that ashrama, you will have certain responsibilities, certain do's and don'ts. Doing that diligently is called pravritti. Somebody says, I'm in grahastha ashrama. Now, sometimes what happens, when you read traditional commentaries, they will only give example of Agnihotra, some other Jyotishtoma. Now, we don't do it in everyday life. So, we have to appreciate all other pravrittis also. Means daily duties are called as pravritti, according to stage in life. Going to work, will you count it as pravritti? Yes, because it is enjoined based on stage in life. Taking care of family, taking care of parents, all of those things which are there, that will be our bounden duties called as pravritti. If you want to take one example, just take work. Doing our work diligently is called pravritti. If I'm just walking from one place to another, you cannot call it pravritti. Those actions which are enjoined upon a person, done with do's and don'ts, that is called as pravritti. Pravritti kya? That is this one. Second one, what is the purpose of pravritti? The nature of karma is, more we do it, more it starts expanding. But true purpose of pravritti is, along with outer prosperity, he is getting inner prosperity also, which we otherwise call it as purity of mind. He says, in and through my work, I have recognized glory of the Lord. In and through my duties, I have recognized power of the Lord. He says that is the true result of pravritti. In fact, in Bhagavad Gita, beginning portion, Shankaracharya says, whole of spiritual life is only for two purposes. One is Abhyudaya, second is Nishreyasa. Abhyudaya means pravritti, Nishreyasa means nivritti. And under Abhyudaya comes material prosperity, which our scriptures never look down upon. But only thing they said is, have it in such a way that our mind is cheerful, beautiful, peaceful. That is where Karma Yoga will be brought in. Whatever is there belongs to the Lord. He says that is pravritti, purpose of pravritti. True abhyudaya, outer prosperity, along with inner prosperity. Pravritti kyon? Third one is, how should one do pravritti? If this is the goal that we want, pravritti kaise kare? How should one do it? The best analogy I have found is again Ramakrishna Paramahansa. He says, one hand should hold on to the Lord. Another hand should hold on to the world. And our prayer should be, Bhagwan, make my life such I can hold on to you with both hands. That is the mindset in pravritti. Because remember, what was the goal of a sadhaka? Not world. He got the title of a sadhaka because his goal was God. So his mindset is, while I am engaged in action, one day I have to grow out of it. One day I have to, in modern terms, they say, find a fit successor. That buddhi which appreciates this, Bhagawan says is satvik buddhi. You read any Purana, the story will go like this only. There was a king who was very popular, very successful. And one fine day, he gave the kingdom to his son, retired to the forest for tapasya. The blessing of this mindset is, we will not get attached to any action. Even while doing that action, the thought will be always of Karma Yoga. So ask him, what is your motivation of doing that action? He says, if Bhagwan is pleased, my job is done. Doing things in that way, that becomes the nature of pravritti. How to do pravritti? He says, do it with devotion to God. Goal is Bhagwan only. He doesn't change that. If you want to mellow it down, you can say, doing actions with the mindset of dutifulness. Kartavya buddhi. The beauty of Kartavya buddhi is, after the action is done, you can happily say, I am done with this work. If we do actions with our own likes and dislikes, it will keep us entangled. This point you see in Sundarakanda, whenever anybody asked Hanumanji, why are you doing what you are doing? His only answer was, because Bhagavan has told me to do. It is my kartavya. After it is done, he said, whatever Bhagavan wants, he can do. That is a blessing of kartavya buddhi. After the action is done, it will free us. This is how he does pravritti. Pravritti kaise? I say, with this very mature thought that this also I have to grow out of. Remember, he's not running away. Huh? Otherwise, Arjuna said, Bhagwan, that is what I was telling you in first chapter. Let me run away. He said, no, the presence or absence of that thing doesn't excite him. That is its mindset. What is the last one? Pravritti kab tak? Until when? Until one gets viveka janya vairagya. Don't just say vairagya. Until one gets dispassion, which is born out of clarity of knowledge. That there is something real in this world which I have to seek. Other than that, everything is unreal. This clarity he gets through pravritti. Because his mind has gotten pure, he is able to see two things as different. Now he says, I want to seek the truth. That becomes his switch to nivritti. What did pravritti do for him? It allowed him to see two things as different. That there is Atma, there is Anatma. Remember, while doing pravritti, he was also doing satsang. It cannot happen that we do pravritti, pravritti, pravritti. One day suddenly we go into nivritti. He says, no, while doing pravritti, he was getting a pure mind, able to appreciate what is self and not self. Until that stage comes, until he gets dispassion from anatma, to that extent, his pravritti is successful. Now that litmus test is this. How do I know whether my vairagya is true or not? He says, see what the object does to the mind. It could be anything of this world. If it creates some excitement or aversion, he says both are not good. We should still continue in pravritti. But whenever we get this clarity, that presence or absence of that object is not going to affect me too much, because that is not my goal. That is his switch to nivritti. It is because every object will not attract different people in the same way. One commentator, he writes, if you see green grass on the street, we just see and go. We don't feel like picking it up. But he says if a cowherd passes by, he feels that is such a great thing for him. He will take it for his cows. So object by itself doesn't decide whether we will get raga towards it or not. But whenever objects lose their power on this sadhaka, that becomes his success of pravritti. Okay, now what is nivritti? If these were the four things for pravritti, nivritti means art of letting go. Again, it is not abandoning anything. Rather, it is maturing out of it. Sometimes what we think is nivritti means inaction. Just be, not do anything. He says, how long will you be like that? Nivritti means doing different type of actions. Those actions which are around spiritual topics. Japa, dhyanam, shravanam, mananam. You have a full day around spiritual topics. He says that is nivritti. See, whenever you go to camps, especially if it's a day camp, let us say, at least for those days, we are taking nivritti from world. We'll be able to appreciate nivritti better in that example. And what does it allow us to do? To focus the mind exclusively on our goal. Modern example of Nivritti is sabbatical. People are working in their day jobs. Why do you think they take 4 months break? So that I can exclusively focus on my goal. What they do is up to them. But at least the time we need, that is nivritti. And in that time, he has to do something which is aligned to his goal. He cannot just sit quietly. So until that taste comes, continuing in pravritti, one who has clarity. If somebody does or takes nivritti prematurely, it is like plucking a raw fruit. Very painful. Mind will not allow us to sit quietly. And that is why sudden nivritti is never encouraged. They say if a plane is going with 8 engines fired up and you want to land, you see, you cannot crash land. Slowly turn off engines one by one and then land safely. So, grahastha to vanaprastha is that engine shutting off. Slowly, one by one, those actions which we need not do, kamya karma, too much of social engagement. He says he doesn't look down upon somebody who is doing it, but he feels this is not my goal now. That is his switch from pravritti to nivritti. That mind which appreciates this is sattvika buddhi. It knows what is pravritti, why pravritti, how to do pravritti, until when to do pravritti, and also appreciates what is nivritti. It is not running away, but growing out, becoming mature. In Uddhava Gita, there is one very nice shloka which comes, which says, whatever we let go, we become free from that thing. It looks very simple, but it's profound. Yato yato nivarteta vimuccheta tatastataha. So he said, first he will let go of sense objects and all those karmas which are not needed, kamya karma. Slowly he lets go of body identification. Gradually he lets go of mind identification. Finally comes to abide in the self. Because main goal of Vedanta is to let go of conditionings. Predominantly body, mind, and avidya also. But where did it start? By letting go of outer things first. Again, this is mentally renouncing. Bhagavad Gita is never telling us literally do anything or suddenly change lifestyle. But one has to always keep in mind this is something to be grown out of. Pravritti and nivritti. Are you all willing to think about one more subtle point, or are you tired? Subtle point. What is the precise difference between pravritti and nivritti? In pravritti, jivatva is real. Finitude is real. Ahankara is real. Keeping that finitude alone, different actions are done. And what is nivritti? Where this finitude is challenged. Reality given to ego is questioned. That is nivritti. So if somebody is walking the path of nivritti, what is their main target? Not fixing the world. Main target is removing this ahankara. This is how Raman Maharshi defines pravritti and nivritti. And I felt unless this clarity is there, we'll always get confused between why is pravritti so bad? What is wrong with pravritti? He says, look at the root of pravritti. Ignorance is very well protected. How does ignorance show? In the form that I am this person, I am this jiva. And what is nivritti? One that will lead us to self-abidance. One who sees this difference clearly, that buddhi is satvik buddhi. Pravritti and nivritti. Second pair is karya akarya. Oh my God, this is such a big doubt. No matter who that person is, what I should do, what I should not do. Bhagwan's antidote is increase sattva guna. That will give us clarity on our duty. The whole premise of Bhagavad Gita starts with this. Arjuna getting confused between what is my duty and what is not my duty, what I should do, what I should not do. First chapter, so many logic he gives, different types of logic. If we have this war, then this will happen, Varna Sankara will happen. Our ancestors will not get pinda. Bhagwan says, you are getting confused. What is your duty? What is not your duty? One who has clarity about both. We will face this more at a practical level in parenting. What should we tell the child? When should we tell? And when should we pull back? What is karya? What is my duty? If I don't tell, then also I'm not doing my duty well. If I tell, it's not working. He says what to tell, when to tell, how to tell, and when to pull back. See, Bhagwan is not giving direct answer. He doesn't say, if it is this situation, do like this. If it is that situation, do like this. He doesn't say that. He says, increase sattva guna, do more dhyana, japa. With that sattva guna, look at your situation. And that satvik buddhi will have the ability, of course, to become sensitive to the situation first, see what is the response coming back, and appropriately do the response again. Satvik buddhi in a way is colorless. That is why it can appreciate other colors better. If a canvas already has color, then it is difficult to paint on it. Satvik buddhi is no color of its own. That is this karya and akarya. Best example of karya akarya is in Sundarkand, when Sita ji starts lamenting. She says, I want this fire so that I can burn myself. And her mind is very agitated. The Rakshasi who is there is Trijata. And you know what she says? At night time, fire is not available in Lanka. Only this much and she goes away. That is this mindset of karya akarya. At that point, when somebody is lamenting, you should not give too much advice. Just deviate their mind to something positive. And very quickly, Sita ji was fine. Hanuman ji came, everything happened. What to do and what not to do. That clarity is given by Sattva Guna. Other pairs we will see tomorrow. All of you have study group. It's very nice to discuss examples. So I hope you will enjoy that. One thing I would encourage, if you are planning to come for meditation, Bhagavan Krishna says in 6th chapter, we need moderation in sleep. At least for these 4 days, if you plan to come, have a very good sleep routine, 9:30, You should be in bed. And you'll notice how much of a difference it makes next day's meditation. Okay, so please come 5 minutes early, like today, and remain seated, and we'll continue with the sessions later on. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo. Harihi Om.